Unit 2, Professionalism and Customer Care for Fitness Instructors worksheet is a 15-question worksheet requiring you to achieve a minimum of 40 marks out of an available 49. But in addition to the total marks, you'll also need to achieve a minimum amount of marks for each question. So as you work your way through the worksheet, please ensure you use good spelling, good grammar, good formatting of your answers, so putting spaces, using sentences, paragraphs if needed, appropriate spaces between there, and that there's good punctuation and grammar. As you scroll through the questions, a lot of them are just written answers where you need to refer to your manual, refer to your e-learning, any other additional resources that are provided to be able to answer the questions. So question 1, provide a summary to the Equality Act, and then explain how the Equality Act links to your job role as a fitness instructor. You need to describe one client that a fitness instructor with no qualifications can work with, and one client that is outside your scope of practice. So as a fitness instructor, you should only work with a certain type of client. Generally, they need to be fit, healthy, free of injury, medical, etc. So explain that within who you can work with, but also provide an example of what sort of condition you wouldn't work with. Question 3, explain the insurance requirements and the importance when working as a fitness instructor. So can you explain the different types of insurance that you might need and what your employer may have? And then we want you to research your local area, and we want you to tell us what gym in the local area, or which facility would satisfy customers' needs if they wanted a low budget kind of fitness only gym. So just your cardiovascular equipment, your resistance stuff, no other bells and whistles. What sort of facility near you would provide a medium large budget family membership, maybe including things like racket sports and other activities for children, maybe a cafe for food, etc.? Or is the one which is kind of a low medium budget one, good social interactions, but the kind of avoidance of traditional fitness equipment? So they're trying to maybe avoid the traditional layout of what the low budget one here would have. For each facility that you list, it will be good if you can link or provide a link to that facility so we can view it online, or see if it's a well-known chain, then we may know them anyway, but it's always good to find out which facilities you are referring to, and potentially if you're a member of some of those facilities as well. Question 5, complete the table to identify ways in which a fitness instructor can help meet the needs of customers in a fitness facility. So how you can help build social support and inclusion in the gym, and how you can obtain feedback and the different ways of doing that. Below here, we want you to just summarize. So if you want to pick one of the facilities that you've listed in question 4, any one of these facilities that you've listed, and then go into a bit more of a deep dive on that facility. So name the facility, what products and services do they offer? Are there any specialist kind of USPs or unique selling points? What are the different membership options and contracts available? And then describe what the customer journey is. So everything from when they first join, can they join online? Have they got to go in person? What sort of memberships do they have? Is it peak, non-peak, family, couples memberships? What do you get from that? Is it all in, or do you have to pay more? No, you could really go to town on it. And an important part of that is your tutor will hopefully speak to you about every facility will have its own different customer journey, whether that's joining online, no customer interaction, you get a PIN number or code, you can walk into that gym with no more interaction, nobody will need to speak to you, and you can do what you want. And for some people that suits their needs. Or you can also join gyms where you phone them, you book in, you get a face-to-face membership, show around, you get an induction when you join the gym, you get programs written for you, you have regular reviews, you have different products and services being offered to you, whether they're free or an additional price. There's different services for different customers and therefore different customer journeys. And it's important for you to be aware of that as a gym instructor, and maybe what sort of setting you want to work in, the pros and cons of that, maybe working in a variety of those in the first couple of years, so you broaden your knowledge and experience of working in different gyms, etc. As we then go down, then we want to talk about the importance of member retention, ways in which a fitness instructor can positively influence that retention. Explain the concept of professionalism. So what is being a professional in health and fitness and being a gym instructor? Explain the importance of each listed factor. So these are some of the key skills that you may need as a gym instructor. So explain the importance of them, and could you provide an example of how you would show that? So how would you show teamwork within your job role? How would you show yourself to be approachable? And how would you show yourself being able to respond within an appropriate time scale? Whether that would be an inquiry or maybe a complaint or maybe some broken equipment, for example. Identify one verbal and one non-verbal method of communication. So these answers can be quite short. If you could kind of give a short answer, but maybe just expand on what you mean by that sometimes, just to make sure it's not too concise. Give one example of negative body language. Again, make sure your answer isn't too concise. Make sure your tutor will understand what you mean and they can assess your knowledge and understanding. And then a bit of a scenario, question 12. You are working as an instructor in a fitness facility. Complete the table to explain how you would act in each situation to ensure a positive customer experience. You see a customer reading a notice board. Explain how you would react and deal with that situation. So would you walk past them, ignore them, and not provide any insight into what they're reading, or would you do something else? You need to explain to a group of customers that a timetabled exercise class has been cancelled due to the instructor being unavailable. So again, explain how you would approach that group, how you might explain it, what else could you maybe offer them at that time so they still get some sort of support from you. When working in your fitness facility, you are approached by a customer who is frustrated and unhappy. Complete the table to explain the appropriate and inappropriate actions. So again, hopefully showing how you would deal with a scenario, customer service skills, communication skills, good examples and inappropriate examples for each one. And then finally, identify one benefit and one risk of using social media in the role of a fitness instructor. And then can you list 2 social media platforms and how those platforms can be used, and in particular, an example of the information that you may share on those platforms. Once you have submitted your worksheet, your tutor will give you an overall mark. If that mark is above 40, but it is still a refer, then it will be because you have not achieved a minimum criteria on one of your questions. Whether it is a pass or a refer, you will receive feedback from your tutor in this box, either written or video feedback, and they will provide any feedback and guidance if a resubmission is required, or just if there's any notable feedback from your submission.